Surprise, everyone. Sorry for the delays once again. So I have a bit of a migraine brewing. I really didn't feel like doing much today, but I decided to stream anyway. But I'm just gonna do some kind of goofy color mixing thing. I think I'm just gonna play with paint. I think that's my plan. So I have a big new palette over here. Oh. Sorry. Big new palette over here that's been getting kind of dusty. So I'm just going to wipe it off. Right, pull this up a little and wipe this off, and then I'm going to put some colors down to play with. Hi, Gabor. So you had asked about the Etcher Everyday Sketchbook. I've been the hot press. That's what I use most of the time. Like most of my, I got a set of 3. So the 3 sketchbooks that you've been seeing most recently are all on that paper. So like this was painted on the Everyday hot press. This stuff, all of my Patreon tier banners, all these experiments, this test, a whole bunch of things. You've definitely seen me use this before. Is that the one with the white cover? Yeah, I mean, I've put a different cover on it. Like I've covered up the white because it collects dirt like nothing else. But yes. Hi, Dan. Okay, so as I mentioned in chat earlier, I've got a bit of a migraine brewing. I've taken meds for it, but I don't want to commit to anything too heavy right now. So I think I'm just going to take a page here and do some color mixing. Experiment with some colors. Finally made it to a stream. Yay! Yay! Congrats. Happy to see you. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna play with some colors. Trying to remember her name. There's an artist who does these like geometric patterns. I got her book at one point, but I couldn't find it downstairs. She does these geometric patterns with watercolors, and then just fills them in. So I don't know. I thought that maybe I might take some washi tape and this circle template thing and maybe do something with it. I haven't really made a plan. As you can tell, today I'm just sort of winging it. Because I really don't have the focus right now. In fact, I might just dim these lights, even though I'm trying to figure out how I can do this. Ellen James. No, I don't think that is the same artist I'm thinking of. Yeah, Right, so that's part of why I didn't want to do anything too heavy today, because I want to be able to just like guilt-free drop it. And so the reason I have it is because I have trouble with the surface. It dries very quickly and has a slight sandpaper-like finish. Okay. Yeah. Feeling it now, it definitely does have a bit of a sandpapery feel. I have found that my issue with it is that it, like the surface breaks up after. So if I start here and I go to there, then I say I'm going to make a circle there. And then I'm going to make a circle at 30. So I'm just sort of drawing. Oh my goodness. I feel like I've kind of gotten this out of alignment. Does anyone else have trouble holding things steady like this? There's a lot of things where like I see people do these really neat drawings. I find that I struggle with them. And so sometimes I'm not sure if it's a practice thing or if it's actually a control. Like some of these things are just an ADHD thing where like I have trouble focusing on the right bit. So get things like doing my best here though. 21. So we're gonna try to line that up here. Is that natural? Yes. Is this what real engineering looks like? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is what me goofing off with a sketchbook because I can't focus looks like. And you'll see when I pull this up that these aren't even aligned properly. It might drive you crazy. It'll probably drive me crazy, but like I don't have the control to get it right. Like I want to, but I fail. That's okay. So then that's those. Right. Okay, so there's some kind of pattern. And then I don't know. Then what do I do next here? Like if I do this, can I get that there? Oh, that'll be interesting. And then try to do that there. So I'm just sort of making stuff up, I think. Oh yeah, so then if I take this one and I try to line it up more like this. Yeah, so there's like geometric templates that you can copy, but a lot of them are printouts, which I don't currently have a printer, so that's part of the issue. So I'm skipping every second one here and lining it up so that I get this as close to matched as possible. And it's doing something. And then we'll see. I find it difficult to keep things steady. Yeah, so I find it very difficult to keep things lined up and equal and clean. Something I put an inordinate amount of effort into. Oh my goodness. Do you hear that howling from the other room? I kept my dog busy with how is the dog? Oh, she's adorable, but she's a real problem. I kept her busy with a peanut butter Kong, but now she hears me talking. Yeah, so I love big flat surfaces for mixing. Um, I feel like this is actually too many wells for me. And also because they're arranged in this big circle, I feel the pressure to have have them distributed properly so that I've got complementary colors across from each other and don't just have like half the palette is blue. Um, Hi Jenny, it's Sorrow, yes indeed. So I'm actually going to close this door. Um, and the function of closing the door isn't just so that you don't hear the dog as much and her sorrow, but also so that she doesn't hear us as much. Because that's what the sorrow is about, is she wants to be involved in everything. Yeah, so I do like really big flat mixing surfaces. And I am gonna make a video. I'll probably record it this weekend. Setting this up, I think I've decided what all I'm putting in all of these wells. But for now, I'm just gonna use it for mixing, and then I'll wash it off and do the video, which I decided to divide it into warm and cool grays. Oh, cool. Are you making a color chart? I am making a something. I don't know. I have a migraine and I haven't been able to focus much today, so I decided that I wasn't going to skip. I've skipped too many live streams, so I didn't want to skip another live stream. And so I decided that I was just going to do something light, maybe do some color mixing, and see what comes of it. And so, yeah, I've got this cool circle template, which I've been meaning to play with, but hasn't really seen as much use as I'd hoped. So I thought I'd use that and see about, yeah. So we'll start with that. It is not at all even, and it's driving me a little bit bonkers, but I am going to embrace it. So I'm wondering what I want to do with this. I have 6 colors here, so I think I'm just gonna pick 6 colors. And I'm gonna make them so I'm gonna use Aussie Red Gold, Leaf Green. So these are kind of goofy color choices. Like I'm not sticking to any kind of like really highly logical anything. But I just think that I can do something interesting with just some paints that I have around. Yeah, so with maybe jadeite, maybe. Might switch that out for, yeah, I'll switch that out. I'll put, instead I will put turquoise. Or, I wonder if I have handy. Cobalt violet. That seems a little bit not. No, I want cobalt teal. That's what I want. I want some like really interesting high key things. I think that's what I'm going for. And then I will do, my last color should be like a blue, like a very bright blue of some kind. Let's see what I can conjure up. Could fill the shapes with 5 colors like a map. With 5 colors? Okay. Tell me more. I'm seeing how I can do this with 6 colors, sorry. But I'm 5 colors. Oh. That's a thought. If I had a, what is this? That's what I wanted. What if I put indigo as my last one? That's sufficiently weird for everyone. It's proven that you can color any map that is enough to, but the proof is computer assisted and very convoluted. Okay, sorry, color any map with 5 colors. I'm trying to figure out how that would work. Okay, you know what? Now I have to do this. I'm going to approach this. I'm going to do the 5 color version, I think. Okay. Sorry, so I was going to do 6. I was going to do these 6 and then everything else falls into place. Like if I make each of these sections 1 color, then the others all fall into place. But now I'm curious about this 5-color thing. Right? So if I take, like if I paint this 1 color, then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 neighboring ones. No, 5. What's that? Oh, but they're not all neighboring each other. Okay, this is too complicated for me. I'm going to stick with my 6. Sorry. Another day when I'm more focused, I would love to try this 4 or 5 thing, but that's too much of a puzzle for me, and I am too dead right now. So it's not happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with each one of these. And so, yeah. And this is going to be also a coloring inside the lines exercise and a color variations exercise. And my dog quieted down. I bet she's napping. She needed a nap. Yeah, she's doing good. She started losing teeth, which is really cute. One of the dogs missing her front teeth. She now weighs about probably just over 10 kilos at this point. So 20, 22, 23 pounds. She is huge. And I was told she was going to reach 50 to 60 pounds based on, she's the 3rd litter from her parents, from her pairing. Sorry about chat. Your hair looking into the picture. Gray with indigo. Hee. Hi, Paulo. Like your hair looking into the picture. Hope your headache gets better. Take care of yourself. Must be old because I've never heard of a smart kettle before, but that's not really surprising. Okay, yes, tell me more about smart kettles. I don't think that I am that much older than you, but I'm wondering, is this like one of those like connected to your Wi-Fi kettles? Because that's kind of neat. And also, you know, I've been avoiding getting a appliances that talk to my Wi-Fi. It scares me a little, but. I can turn it on my phone so I can be lazy. And also schedule it. No need to be scared. Any random stranger on the internet can brew you a coffee. That's true. That's true. So you can decide that I need a coffee and brew me a coffee. Or any of you mushroom hunters, I a little bit. I don't know that much, and to be honest, I've never been much of a mushroom eater, so that's put a damper on my mushroom foraging. But I do really enjoy foraging the little bit that I've done. And it's something that I want to do more of. And, I've been cultivating an interest in foods, mushrooms, and okras and other, like, okra is my favorite vegetable, not because it, it features in what were any of my favorite foods, but because it's such a cool plant that, I'm making myself like it. So mushrooms are similar. I enjoy the process of foraging, so I've been trying to get into wild mushrooms from a culinary perspective. Tell me more about your mushroom hunting experiences. Foraging. So many pretty ones. I won't try eating them. So practical for me. No standing in the kitchen. Standing makes it hard for the blood to reach my brain properly. You know what we need to do? Myself a smart kettle so that Joy, or any stranger on the internet, but specifically Joy, can schedule me my coffee. Wouldn't that be nice? Joy? You know what you need right now, Lee? You need a coffee. I think it would be good. Saturday morning coffee, right? Because it's Saturday morning where you are. And now it's raining, and pressure changes seem to trigger my migraines. So there's that. And my schedule's been a little bit disrupted, like a puppy. Which I know that excuse is getting old. She's 15 weeks old. Any day now she'll actually be able to sleep through the night. But she woke me up at like 4 a.m. because she desperately needed to pee this morning. Actually, it was worse than that. Usually I tether her. So she hadn't taken to crate training, which is the usual method, the common method, at least where I live, is to crate train little puppies and put them in a crate at night and at other times when you need them to settle. She hadn't taken to that, so when she was really little, we started tethering her to furniture, to ourselves, to etc. And at night she'd get tethered to the edge of the bed. So she has her bed there, she sleeps there. Last night she wasn't tethered. So she was sleeping in the bedroom, I didn't bother tethering her. She got down the stairs, and she can get, we put a baby gate, but she can get under it. We put a baby gate, deliberately left a space under it for the cat to get under, so that he can easily get into the basement. She can get under it currently to get downstairs, but not to get back up. So she got under, dug up, flung some cat poop around, realized she needed to go poo, and then started howling at the door. So I ran downstairs at 4 a.m. And then she slept in until 8, which was nice. Usually I get to wake up closer to 7. Is that real indigo? It is, I believe, real indigo. Yeah. This is Shinhan PWC. Indigo, which is made with PB66, which is the synthetic indigo, but it's real indigo, not a hue. Dan, can you also see the stream breaking up every now and then? Is that for everyone or just Dan and Gabor, or just Gabor? If everyone's breaking up, then it's my stream, then once again I need to deal with my internet. Although right now, because we have a storm locally, it's possible that it's actually my stream. We dealt with some of the issues that were going on my side, so hopefully that's working a bit better for people. Yeah, we were supposed to be really stormy yesterday, and there wasn't any rain at all. But then today, storm started breaking out pretty early. And just affecting my head. I am medicated, and it isn't too severe, so I did want to still get a stream in. Everything is smooth, just every now and again. Jenny, where are you located? Looks okay now. Okay, so it seems like everyone's had a little bit of spottiness, which means there's probably something up with my stream. Stephen, you're just up the street from me. Have you noticed any kind of spottiness with your internet throughout the day? What with the storm system coming through? Get a little bit more of this in here. More, come on, get a little bit more. Why is it so cheap? It is a rather cheap brand. If you look at their color selection, it is very strange. Like their pigment selection overall is very, very strange. They do seem to use a lot of like fairly cheap, light fast pigments. PB66 is not an expensive pigment at all. Like, so keep in mind that is the synthetic form of indigo. It's what's used to dye blue jeans. So it's not extracted from a plant. It's the same compound, but it's made synthetically. So PB1 is genuine indigo extracted from a plant. PB66 is that indigoid pigment, but it doesn't specify the source. So you can have, or one of them doesn't specify the source. So usually PB66 is made in a lab. It's cheaper. So it's not an expensive pigment. It's not used very much in watercolor because it's not super light fast, and being a fairly muted color, it's not crazy difficult to make hues, although, you know, if you're a purist, nothing is quite like the real thing. I don't know that I really am a purist, but I do like trying out all the different options. I'm enjoying this. This is kind of a meditative process. Like I used to do more of these sort of just like relaxing experimental things, and I think I fell out of the habit partially when I started doing like daily art challenges, was because then I was always painting something from life. And then with teaching and whatever, a lot of the time when I'm doing something that's not a finished painting, you know, it's still a lot more based on painting an actual subject or that sort of stuff. Wouldn't it be nice to get back to? Sometimes I'm just spur of the moment doing some kind of weird color mixing or swatching, just really just for fun. So it's nice to do that today. Well, what sort of things do you all do to unwind with art? Like when you're feeling just a little too, I don't know, stuck in some way? I feel like I should be. UV28 cobalt 15 mils, 10 pounds 10. Yeah, so okay, so my only concern with Shinhan is that some of their paints, their pigment information is so different from what shows up in the actual paint. And so I have more examples of these in swatches, which I don't have handy, but I do have a tube right here, and I'll show you the sort of thing that's very common with some Shinhan paints. So this paint is called Aureolin, right? So Aureolin usually refers to PY40, which is a cobalt-based yellow pigment that is very fugitive. Now, a lot of pigment companies will label other things as Aureolin because they don't want to do a PY40 paint because it's very fugitive and it browns when it fades. So they'll use, say, a PY150 and call that Aureolin, or use a mix and call that Aureolin. This is called Aureolin. It's got 3 stars light fastness, which I believe is their highest. Right. So here you have a 2-star light fastness for Indigo. They're calling this 3 stars, which is their highest. And they've made it with PY42, apparently. So PY42 is hydrated something. Iron oxide. It is yellow ochre. The natural form of yellow ochre. So if you swatch it, if you just drop it down on the paper, it looks sort of like that. It looks like a little bit brighter than most of your yellow ochres, but so far so good. Now, if I wash this out, it is so bright. Like, it is a convincing sort of a convincing, it's got a bit of a granulation, but otherwise it is a fairly convincing, it's got a bit of a granulation, it's a little bit more orangey, but otherwise it is a very convincing Aureolin. Like, it looks very much like the PY40, but I've never seen a PY42. I've never seen a yellow ochre that looks like this. So my questions with Shinhan are sometimes like what they say their paints are made of. I have some questions because it doesn't really match reality. And then my other issue with Shinhan is some of their documentation. I think they may have hidden it, but for a while their website said something about, you know, jars and vibration and singing to the paints, which was also very questionable, and saying that their paints were more light fast because they use a lot of single pigment paints, which first of all isn't true. Single pigment paints are not more light fast than multi-pigment paints. It really does just come down to which pigments they are. So if you use a whole bunch of very light fast, non-reactive pigments, you can mix them all together and they won't be less light fast. And then the second thing is, as brands go, they don't have particularly more single pigment paints than other brands. So none of it made sense. And then a lot of it just doesn't, like, it doesn't line up with, sorry, this is showing up as quite yellow ochre-y in this shot. I assure you, in real life, it's way brighter than any yellow ochre that I've ever seen. It does not make sense. Oh, so part of it is that, part of it is that I'm getting some red pigment from elsewhere, but it is not, it is much brighter than it should be for yellow ochre. The tube. So questions about what they're putting. Yeah. Are there any real indigo watercolors? Yes. What's it called? The Italian company. I'm forgetting their name. My Mary Blue. My Mary Blue's new line is all single pigment, and they have both PB66 and PB1. One of them they call Payne's Gray, and one of them they call Indigo, and I forget which one's which. But one of them's PB1 and one of them's PB66, so one of them is genuine indigo. Yes, my Mary. Yes, yes, yes. I think A Gallo might also have it. By your comments on Shinhan, I won't bother trying the brand. Yeah, so I mean, it really depends on your priorities, right? So if you're sketching in a sketchbook and you want an affordable set of bright paints, then Shinhan is wonderful. Their paints behave very nicely. They're pretty, they're affordable, they, like, from that perspective, there's nothing wrong with them. But if you're the sort of nerd who wants to know exactly what's in your paint, you want to make sure that it's all very light fast, and you know, you're nerdy about your pigments, then there are some questions. And similarly, you know, it's similar to the concerns about Daniel Smith with you know, okay, well, you're saying that there's one thing in your paint and clearly there's something else, so you know, that brings up some questions. And it's not a question of how the paint behaves. Like, you can test how the paint behaves, it behaves beautifully, but just in terms of like how our, you know, what's actually going on here. There can be some concerns there. So yeah, I don't want to discourage people. Or if you are using Shinhan, you're happy with how they perform, and you're not particularly concerned, for example, with light fastness because you're sketching in sketchbooks, or you're painting for yourself, or you're selling affordable artwork and you don't think it matters, or you're selling expensive artwork and you don't think it matters. That all of those things are valid, and I don't want to discourage people from doing that. Okay, so I'm gonna try mixing up a little bit of these two in here and see how that works. Oy. And then get a little bit more of this in there. Let's see about that. Oh, that is interesting, isn't it? Okay. Yeah. I don't like Shinhan's professional line. I'm reluctant to buy the PWC. Yes, so they are similar. The PWC is definitely better, but I'm not buying any more brands of watercolor. Yep, that's perfectly reasonable. I mean, if you look at my collection, I've got just all kinds that I got from everywhere. I tend to shop by pigment, and when things go on sale, I'll try a new brand. I definitely have opinions on brand performance, but the truth is, I have much stronger opinions on pigments. And within that, to be honest, I have a few towards, but you can think with anything. Indigo from Jackson's. This indigo does not contain black, and so it can either be warm or cool, very versatile for mixing. Yeah, I'm not really sure. A lot of these statements don't make sense to me with this, like, oh, well, it doesn't contain black, therefore, whatever. But yeah, this is just, well, you all know me. This is just where I nerd out. This is where I exist in my nerdy little state. Okay, so then I'm going to take a little bit of this one. Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to put this here. And then over here, I'm going to do a little bit more of this one. We call that, yeah, a little bit more the green. Well, why I seem to have a kitty visitor. One moment. Hello, buddy. Do you want to be part of the stream? Come on. Come on. So for those of you who are not aware, I recently got a dog, but I've had a cat since this. Part of the stream. I have a 10-year-old cat. And he hasn't been getting enough attention recently because his sister's been hogging it all. Yeah, hi, buddy. Hi, bud. Yeah. It's time for you to get some love, huh? It's time for baby to get some love. The little one to get some love. Yeah. Yeah. Here, let's pull you. Let's pull this over a little. Oh, buddy. Buddy. Has your sister been hogging all the attention? Yeah. You're a good boy. You deserve more love, don't you? Oh, hey, bud. Do they get on with each other? They are determined. They are very interested in each other. They are determined to be friends. Neither of them really understands friends. Right now, the way this is working is Ember, my dog, is trying to, she thinks her brother, the cat, is the coolest thing ever, and she wants them to be best buds. But her definition of best buds includes licking his butt, which he is not sold on. Like, he does not want his butt licked. So she'll go and she'll try to bribe him by offering her toys. Like she has a stuffed duck that she plays with, and she gives it to him, and then she was chewing on a beef trachea, so she had like a partially dismembered cow throat, and she was like really enjoying it, and then she thought that maybe if she gave it to her brother, then they'd be friends, so she offered him that. So she'll bring him gifts like peace offerings, and then that tends to not work quite the way that she hopes, but there's quite the way that she hopes. And then she jumps from that to, okay, now we're buds, so can I lick your butt? And that definitely does not work quite the way she hopes. Yeah. Meanwhile, he just wants to supervise her and let us know that he is, better behaved than his sister. He's also trying to teach her how to clean herself. And so she tries to do everything that the cat does. So, yeah. Have we shared the Discord link? Oh, thank you, Gabor. I have not seen Aureol's new release. It seems like something that will tempt me. I really, really love her use of color. I find it just really fascinating. But yeah, so I'm gonna try to mix these, and so this will be some kind of a gray here, like this. And then this will be, oh, whoops, sorry. I need to get some more of this one and get in here. And mixed with that. Oh yeah, that'll be an interesting color in here. Nice low chroma style. Hopefully with Ember being so smart, she'll work it out. It's around $200 US. Oh, nope, not buying it. Nope. Is that even a thing? I'm so confused. Oh yeah, it's absolutely a thing. If you look at her work, she's definitely created a mood with her color choices. But actually what I find interesting about her work, and I wonder if it'll show up in her selection, but if you see her work, she actually works with a lot brighter colors, especially at first when she's painting, and then she seems to sort of shift them through layering to this very earthy, warm, sort of magical feeling palette. And so I wonder when she releases her colors whether she'll release colors that are closer to the end result or more like the early stages, because if it's closer to the end result, then it's sort of disappointing in a way, I find, because I would like to see more of the middle effect, I guess, if that makes sense. Okay, and get a little bit more of this in there. Lee also has a Patreon. That's like 100,000 Canadian. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's a little unfortunate. Our dollars. Our poor dollars. Oh. Oh. I'm more into the Schmincke New Granulating palette. I'm a sucker. Yeah, I mean, I really like those. I haven't bought any because I mean, a few reasons. There is some part of me that's still sticking to the so at the beginning of the year I said I wasn't gonna buy anything this year. Now I've bought all sorts of. Hello. Sorry, let me just switch this camera around. I love reading through her book when I want some inspo. Oh, I should definitely do that. I own her book. think this will be a stream restart. Yep. Here we go. And I just killed that feedback so you're not getting my voice echoing. Okay. Great. Hopefully we'll have people rejoin us in the next few minutes, and I will go back to this. So what did I have here? That one was the mix between so I had this mix that was a cobalt violet with a little bit of this guy, a lot of it of this guy. There we go. And we had this, which was more like this one. And so then let's just mix all of that up. Get this thing. A little bit more of that. Okay, well, that is a color. Yes, I also, yeah, Aureolin definitely has a bunch of really neat mushrooms. She has some really cute, like, urban scenes and sort of magical forest scenes, like very, very different style than me, obviously, like a completely different realm of illustration. But I think that it's fun to see her process. Anyway, I would be curious to see whether her set reflects her finished product or her process, because if it reflects her process, then she's starting with a lot of fairly standard colors. Are you still working on the Canada Food Guide? Yes, I am. It is almost done, and I considered doing that today, but again, I have a migraine. I don't think that I could focus through that or do my best work there. So yeah, I've been picking away at it slowly, on and off stream. And maybe I'll finish it next week on stream. The last little bits too, like sometimes there's, it requires just a little bit more focus to get those last little bits done. And I'm just not up to it right now. Yeah, so then this is over here, right? So then we have this guy over here, and we have that mixed with that. So we're gonna have something more akin to this. Well, those are some real muddy looking mixes over here. Although nothing unexpected. Okay, now I need to decide how I'm gonna do these outside mixes. And I think I want them to be some of the brighter mixes. So this will be like mostly cobalt blue here with just a tiny bit of the other stuff. And then maybe I'll just do this so that it just gives a hint of the, like, maybe I'll let them sort of blend in less evenly. I think that's a cool idea too. So I'm just gonna throw some of that in this way and let them show a little bit more of their texture since I have a bit more room here. Uneven. You getting used to the Mega palette? Yeah! Stephen, how's your experience with this palette? Because I've had it for a while, but I haven't really used it. Because, of course, everything in my life is around these. I tend to plan around these big video projects that recently haven't even been panning out real great. Yes, this sketchbook does do some uneven mixing. But to be honest, I don't mind uneven mixing. Like, I like uneven mixing. My issue with this sketchbook is that it seems to fuzz up after one or two layers, so that then I can't get as much definition in like final dry brushing. Which is, I mean, to some extent, like, yeah, it's a sketchbook, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it kind of sucks a little bit, I find. You know, it'd be nice to get a little bit more. Right now I'm into dotting. I think it's called stippling as well. Yes, yes, okay, cool. That's really cool. Working on a tree stem at the moment. That's really nice. Yeah, I find I lose patience with stippling. Like, I like the effect, and I start out doing really well with it, and then I lose a little bit of patience. I can totally see how it would be meditative for some people. I'm just, you know, meditation looks a little different for everybody, that process. And so for me, I find that having something like this where each little section is a slightly different color, like this keeps my interest better than something like stippling where I feel like I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. And I realize that that is, you know, some people find the other way around. I always find it interesting what works for different people for that zoning out sort of work. As I've mentioned, I haven't been doing as much of this. Like, I used to do a lot. I used to have a lot more of a practice of just, you know, when I needed to relax, doing something that really totally wasn't finished painting related. And now I tend to always be painting some sort of real subject, some sort of real thing. So it's really nice to get back to this. Hadn't realized how much I had missed this sort of process. Trying to just give enough room in these mixes, enough water to let things flow around a bit, drop in slightly different areas of color. Since I have a bunch of fairly granulating or separating paints in this little limited palette I've been playing with, to show that off a little. I have depression, so stippling helps clear my head and relax it and just be. Yes, so I have anxiety, which it turns out, like, I've had anxiety for a really long time, but it turns out that it's partially a coping mechanism for ADHD. So I would motivate myself to do things by generating anxiety, and that helped get over the starting energy, the block that ADHD can cause in terms of like not being able to focus on a task. When the pressure is high, then I'm able to focus better. So I sort of unfortunately taught myself to make myself anxious, much to the destruction of my own health. So I am trying to unlearn some of those bad habits now. And that's been a little bit slow going, but art can definitely be helpful with that, but because it's also my work, you know, it's hard not to fall into bad habits in terms of like making everything into work, making everything into deadlines. So I've been a bit stalled the past few months, which I'm sure that all my regular viewers have noticed, that I haven't been putting out content very much, that I've been a little bit quiet on social media, a lot quiet on social media actually, working on myself, but trying to find a way back in, because again, I do really enjoy this stuff, and it is really helpful in its way. I just need to find a way to combine all the things in a healthier way than I have previously. Jenny says Diana art has really helped me with my depression. Oh, good. Are you a freelance or under a company? I am freelance. Which, of course, you know, adds to that difficulty with dividing between home and relax and work, and the pandemic has also sort of thrown everything off a little, because I have a studio outside of home. I started up a co-op studio many years ago, and it's a nice short walk from home. Works out really well for getting me out of the house, getting me interacting with other artists. So it's a big shared space. So we're all working on our own things, but you know, fair 1,500 square foot loft studio space helps with the division of like home to work. You know, you go to work, you do your art, you come home. And I had already been, when we bought this house, I built a studio at home, and I had already been, you know, pushing it a little with falling out of the habit of going to the other studio because I could work from home. And then when the pandemic hit, I really got to see the downside of that, where I've been working from home for the better part of 2 years now, with very few visits to my actual studio. And, I might be an introvert, but that division and that social motivation has been very important to my functioning in the past, and without it, I get quite lost. So, I am now fully vaccinated. So are all my studio mates. We have instant test kits at the studio. So I'm just trying to figure out the best way to bring my dog along, because I got a puppy, also as a health coping strategy, and trying to figure out how to incorporate her into that routine now. Eventually I'm hoping that she'll be trainable as a service dog, and regardless, my studio mates would be happy to have a fairly well-behaved dog, but she's still just a little puppy, so she can be really disruptive. So I have to start figuring that out. I think I might move her crate there, work on some crate training skills here, and then move her crate there so that we can do, she can nap in her crate, and be able to settle there in a fairly contained way. Yeah. I drove by your studio today, says Stephen. Oh, awesome. Exactly why I say no to everyone. It's too much pressure. Yep. Art as a career is tough every now and then, but thinking about it, moving into it, but giving up one career for another is not easy. No, and every so often I have second thoughts. For those of you who've been following me for a while, you definitely already know this, but I know that we have a couple of new people in here today, who might not have caught this. I have a previous career, or at least a previous degree, didn't get very far in that career, in civil engineering. And it was really, really not for me. But I moved from that into illustration. And, I'm very fortunate with my life that I'm able to do that and not have to worry about money too much. So of all the stressors in my life, money's not very high on the list. But I do have to say, it makes me dependent on my husband for the lifestyle that we keep, that his career choices are much more profitable than mine. And he's also followed his dreams to an extent, but, it's difficult. It's difficult being dependent, and especially being dependent, because of the life that we've chosen, but at the same time, it would be a lot harder if I had to support myself on this income, and I would definitely need to make some different choices than I make regularly. And it's hard to be dependent on another person. It's a huge privilege, but it's also not something that I would recommend to take lightly, like just because you have the opportunity to. because if I wanted to get back into engineering at this point, it would be very difficult to explain to a potential employer, why is there a 7-year gap here? And why would I want an engineering job now? So there are times when, for one reason or another, I feel like I should have kept a foot in the door more, or tried to balance and had a day job. I wouldn't want to do it full time, especially when I check the pay. Yeah. So, I mean, compared to what I would have earned as an engineer, we joke around about, when I'm a famous artist, because of course, as an engineer, my dad's also a software developer who made the opposite choice, who was also interested in art. Which guided me, but then my husband is also in software. So compared to what that's a much more reliable income. And we'll joke about, some dreams that are like realistically out of reach for us, we'll joke about, when I'm a famous artist, because that's the only way that we'll be able to afford them, because we're not going to be able to afford them on like a regular job. So when I'm selling art for millions, but the reality is that's not the experience of most artists, most illustrators by any stretch. And so the reality is, like, had I stayed in engineering, I could have expected, low 6 figures. By this point in my career, probably. And that's not what my life is right now at all. Low 6 figures in Canadian dollars, in case anyone is curious. But that's not what my life is now. That's not really what I'm expecting at any point in this career. And I think that there's a value to being able to just count on a reliable income and having nice things in your life. And not being dependent on someone else. So first of all, not everyone has the luxury that I did of just being able to trade off a career without, of course I had to give up some things, but I didn't have to give up stability, right? Apparently 6 figures Canadian is 200 US dollars. Something like that. It certainly feels like that when I order things across the border. I look at dollars, I'm like, yeah, that's fine, because you know, sometimes we're at parity, but sometimes we're at like 60 cents. And then there's exchange, then there's import fees, then there's this, then there's shipping, then there's whatever. Like, you buy something for $50 and somehow you're in for 200. When I bill internationally, I bill in US dollars, like for commissions. When I bill internationally, I bill in US dollars, because of that. Because I can quote in dollars, and Canadians will be expecting Canadian dollars, and everyone else will be expecting American dollars. Try to imagine what you could buy with that. There you go, right? Just amazing. Does your money smell like maple syrup? I've heard it does. It does smell like maple syrup. Our money does smell like maple syrup. It's not deliberate. It turns out, like, they're not scenting it with maple syrup. It's just something about the process. Our money is manufactured by the same people who manufacture it's manufactured in the same facility that manufactures Australian and New Zealand money. So I am curious if anyone watching, Joy, are you still there? Do you have like new bills that you can scratch and sniff? Because I know that Kiwi money and Aussie money are made. It's actually an Australian firm that made the presses, or the machines that print our money. Canadian money is actually printed in Australia, and it's something about the polymer that's used to embed the security features that smells like maple syrup. So when you get fresh bills, like when they release fresh money, it smells very strongly of maple syrup, and then any newish bills, if you scratch them, they'll smell like maple syrup. But it's definitely true of Canadian money. Like I read that and I was like, is that really true? And then I went and sniffed my money, and yeah, sure enough, it does. Now the Mint insisted it's not deliberate, which makes me think. I mean, if they're made with the same process as Aussie and Kiwi money, then theirs should smell like maple syrup too. It just won't be as funny because they're not Canadian. So I'm waiting for Joy to report in from New Zealand to tell me if New Zealand money also smells like maple syrup. Money smells like shame. Oh. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be as funny as it is. I always wash the shine away with water. I want our money to be like Scottish money. It's so pretty. Somebody go post a picture of Scottish money in my Discord. New people. I have a Discord channel where we chat throughout the week. It's kind of like this, only with more weekday chats. We can continue any discussions here. There's lots of nerdiness about mushrooms and paint pigments and other stuff that we tend to discuss on this stream. And somebody will drop in that link. Anyway, I am getting back into the swing of things a little bit. These past few weeks have been good. So I'm hopeful. Yeah, we're getting back into the swing of things. The puppy's growing up. She's learning to settle a bit better. She's really lovely. She's just, a baby. I have she's a sled dog, border collie mix, so very high energy. And so we're just getting her into a routine where she settles when she's at home. And that's been going pretty well, but puppies. Okay, so next I'm going to start working on this and start doing some mixes over here. So we have this here. And I think I'm going to leave these ones in the middle because I kind of like the look of them. But I'm going to paint in here and paint in there. A little bit more. Yeah. A little bit more of this. And then overall, these ones I'm going to have a very washed out version. And I think that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Quality, they are all the same. The ones are carbon based, and now this matte one. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, can confirm Scottish money doesn't smell like earned brew. Disappointed. I'm still waiting for Joy to tell me whether can somebody ping Joy? Can somebody tag Joy, please? I need to get Joy's attention. I need Joy to sniff some Kiwi money for me. I wonder if I've still got, I don't think I still have Aussie money on me. We traveled to Australia a couple years ago. But it was before I knew about the maple syrup thing. So I never checked when I was in Australia whether Australian money also smells like maple syrup. And now, the curiosity is killing me. Are you there at Joy? We need you to scratch and sniff your money. We do! It's important. They are very nice. I love the eraser design, but for the price of 3 Blackwing pencils, you can buy 3 12-packs of Staedtler Tradition Yellow Black of each grade you like. Yes. To be honest, yeah, I use whatever pencils I have. I do have some Blackwings because at various points people have given me Blackwings. They're nice. I don't know if it's because, you know, I'm not the right level of pencil snob or what, but I can't really tell the difference. But then on the other hand, you know, I know that different people are fussy about different things. So like I'm fussy about some paint properties, whereas I know that some people are very, very fussy about texture of paper, for example. And I am not. I can tell when paper has been ruined by moisture, and that bothers me. But in terms of texture, I mean, I can observe it. Yes, you know, some hot press papers are smoother than others, but I don't. It doesn't seem to bother me in the same way as it seems to bother some other people. So. People use them as vanity items? Yeah, I guess. Status symbol. Bye, Paulo. Bye, everyone. Well, sorry. Bye, Paulo. Not bye, everyone. I'm still working. Can you tell my brain's not quite fully on? No, sorry. I want this mixed with this one. This mixed with this one. That's what I need here. There we go. And then I need this mixed with this, mixed with that, mixed with, there we go, maybe that's what I need, yeah. There, yeah. Wait, nope. So it's interesting, in the summer, these streams are like right in the middle of the day. Everything's very bright. And now, because it's rainy and because we're heading into winter, this stream is now very much in this stream is now very, very much in like evening. Sun's falling. It's getting quite dark here. So I'm gonna have to adjust the lights probably next time. Not really. I've got my lights dimmed today because I just can't with bright lights. My migraine's hitting me, so I hope that it's not too dark for you. Like this, I know that these colors won't read true, but I hope it's still looking all right. That's my last little bit of postage done. Dan, I went looking for your cobalt violet on your restock and I couldn't find it. Was it not restocked this time? Because I definitely want to purchase your cobalt violet the next time I can get my hands on it. I was serious about that. And pay you. I owe so many people things. I need to send out some postage. My goodness, I'm so behind on mailing things. Between like pandemic isolation and just like, you know, once something's been sitting in on my desk for months, it just becomes part of the background. Completely forget about it. And then I'm going to do this over again, but these ones I'm going to do really, really light, I think. And so I'm going to do these, but just like really washed out. So these ones are going to be all the way over here. A little bit of this, just a tiny bit, but just really, really washed out. That's right, a tiny bit more. I just want to make sure that it is visible, but still very, very washed out. That this is then visible, but very, very washed out. And then I'm gonna erase out the lines. should I do on the rest of the sketchbook page? So I've got a big page. And I just did this little round. Got a whole big page. What should I do with the rest of the sketchbook page? I didn't restock that one this time. I'm planning on making it for next year. Awesome, cool. Thanks. Bye, Dad. Bye, Jenny. I know it's almost done, but I can't stay up any longer. Thank you, Lee, for the stream, despite the migraine. See you next week. Yes, see you next week. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, I am almost done, so I'm going to wrap this up very shortly. It seems like we're all wrapping up around the same time, which is really great. Welcome back. So I'm wrapping up. I might do a labeling of some of the colors in this along the side, maybe. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the rest of this sketchbook page. Dan, do you have any sketchbook page montage advice? I'm surprised. My dog appears to still be asleep. I thought she'd be all restless because she actually didn't get much of a walk this morning. I decided to do an indoor training session with her because she was really tired this morning, and it was rainy. No, she doesn't mind the rain. I mind the rain a little bit, so we took a short walk, and then I did some training with her, but then I was going to take her out again later, but she slept through it. She's been sleeping a lot today. It's quite nice walking in the night. It's quite mild out. Ooh, that's nice. All right, so this is the main thing that I'm going to do on this page, but as you can see, it's a really large page, and I tend to like filling up my pages quite a bit. Like I tend to fill everything right up in my sketchbook. So everything is quite full. Like this I'll fill right up too. But I don't really know what to do with the rest of this page, so maybe I'll label my colors. Maybe that's what I'll do. Anyway, I'm not sure. I think actually though, I'm just gonna finish this up. Thank you everyone for joining. This was really fun. I'm glad that I did a stream today, even though I wasn't feeling the best. It was a nice reminder that I can do things that aren't, a painting, like a rendition, a representational painting of an object, and just play with paint sometimes and do something really different. So this was really super fun. For anyone who's wondering what the palette looks like, here, let me pull that over. That's what this looks like right now. It may look a little different. I may do some more fiddling with it a little bit. Okay, thank you everyone. Bye bye. See you next week.